His name is Dion. I met him at a program in Ypsilanti called Mentor to Youth in 2015. At 8 years old, he was one of the angriest children I had ever met, and he was continually sent from the classroom into the hallway. In photos, chin up, he flashed gang signs, and his bravado was unlike anything I had ever seen in someone so young. Throughout that summer, I took photographs while Livy and Gretchen found inspirational quotes to accompany the posters we were going to make for each child in the program. I had taken a photo of Trey, feet off the ground, just after he had launched the basketball toward the hoop. It was toes pointed, hands bent beauty, and his poster's caption read, "Believe deep down in your heart that you're destined to do great things." 3 years later, I sat in the classroom beside Trey as he worked diligently at his desk. He had become a young man focused, and when we read a book about redwoods, he had questions beyond the pages, a thirst to know more. As he worked, he turned toward me. "Do you remember the poster you made for me?" I looked at him and smiled. "Of course I do. Your form was beautiful." He continued, "It's still up on my bedroom wall. My dad looked at it and said that I am going to do great things. My grandpa looked at it and cried." As a child, I loved to read. It was a chance to escape to worlds beyond my walls. A few years ago, we had a book drive for Mentor to Youth at church, and beyond educational material I remember from my elementary school years, they had the opportunity to listen as the instructor read one of those books donated. It was written by an African-American author, and they listened intently, laughing at language to which they could relate, making commentary when something was about to happen, shushing each other so they could hear more of the story, and once again, I had escaped to worlds beyond my walls. I see the educational opportunities afforded in the Chelsea School District, the wealth of technology afforded each child, and I remember my children sharing how well they were prepared for college, how easily they transitioned from one level to the next. Not every child is afforded that opportunity, nor do they have the technological advantages necessary to advance to the next level, and I find myself wrestling with some pretty hard questions for which I have no answer. Enter the God who sees and loves and adores his children far more than I ever could. The God who brings a depth of meaning to words like obedience and surrender and abundance. The idea comes to flip a house that children in Ypsilanti might have greater educational opportunity. Obedience becomes a matter of listening through devotions, my gut, aka the Holy Spirit, and through circumstances I hear move forward. Surrender. You know I don't know how to do this, right? Details? God, I'm more scattered and disorganized than most people can handle. Will anyone even help me? And where am I going to get the cash, let alone the house? And God says, let go. I've got you. I attended a meeting where I was told the idea was too risky and I was turned down for the loan. Hey God, that part about I got you? Soon after, a man contacted me and told me that he flipped houses for a living. He said that a woman approached him twice to buy her house and he had turned her down. She had recently come to him a third time, and he saw it as a sign. He told me he would buy the house and he just wanted to recoup what he put into it. The profit would be mine. What? The work began in full at about the same time the pandemic began to shut the world down, and while those working alongside me weren't the ones I expected, God brought stories in human form and the world expanded beyond my walls. I met those whose countries, lifestyles, and political beliefs differed greatly, and yet we were all working together to create something better in the world. And that seems to be how this thin place, merciful and gracious God of mine works. You ask God to take you to places unknown that you might make a difference in the life of children you've fallen desperately in love with. And you find yourself on a journey with a God who's desperately in love with you and opens the world wide beyond your own walls. For me, a glimpse of Grace is simply this: daring greatly, beyond all of the faults others see in you and you see in yourself, to trust God when you're pretty sure you know how it's going to go, and trusting more when it's anything but. Knowing you belong to a God who loves you as much as he loves the person so unlike you. Working together to make a better world, the kingdom of which God dreams and you and I are called to love and work wildly toward. Oh, and perhaps the biggest lesson of all: nothing of worth in God's kingdom is ever accomplished alone. Thank you, Mike.